What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So there has been something that's definitely been concerning me lately in the collection, and it's having a mid-room shelf. You know, it blocks a lot and makes the room more cluttered. It's not as classy, and frankly, I just don't want to have it. So I'm trying to think up alternatives and what I have to sacrifice because I can't have everything. It just boils down to that. Of course, I can't. I don't have unlimited money and space. So I'm trying to think, one thing's for sure, Godzilla vs. Kong is one of my most important pre-orders because I do feel it's going to be one of my best displays. So what better place to put it than underneath my TV? Now, to do this would mean, and I want your guys' opinion on if it really is worth all this, we have to sacrifice a Fell Beast, which is an amazing dragon statue. Very, very cool Lord of the Rings piece. Cancel Balrog versus Gandalf, which many have touted as a grail. And, I mean, it looks phenomenal. But if I was to cancel it, I'd save myself $1,700, make $1,000 off this. And I'd also be selling Caesar bust. Now, Caesar bust is one of my most impressive life-size busts, at least in the face. Obviously not the body and base. However, where I currently have him displayed, you can't even see his eyes. All you see is like that. So it's not as impressive because of the way I display it, which is very unfortunate because it is an amazing bust and an amazing trilogy. The 1/4 is a decent 1/4. It's definitely, outdated. So I would sacrifice Caesar bust and Caesar 1/4. And basically this is kind of how I do it. Although the only difference is that shelf would be switched with that shelf. So the big diorama would go inside a large garage shelf and it would fit. Godzilla's tail would stick out into the next shelf, which is fine. And you'd have Godzilla bust inside that single shelf. And then right here is where you do Kong bust next to him. So I went ahead and photoshopped it just to give a brief idea of how that would look. So the diorama itself, it's a little weird the way they do measurements. But if you look at just, Godzilla, then just Kong, I should be able to fit both. And then you have the middle buildings, which aren't even taking up that much space. It's really like depth. And then Kong bust is the same width as Caesar, which, I tested it out, and that is how Caesar looks. So Kong bust is slightly shorter and a bigger base. And it would obviously fit like there. Part of its shoulder would be hitting the, be blocked, which is fine. But it would fit. And the diorama is only 31 inches tall, which is shorter than that. Godzilla is only 24 inches tall himself. So it definitely would be very visible. The back part of the diorama, you don't really need to see. It's not as crucial. And I actually can still see Godzilla's back part because it is in a garage shelf that's open. As I'm walking around, I can see it right there. So it's not like it's totally blocked, per se. The Kong one would more or less be, like I wouldn't be able to see the back, I'd only see the side. But I could also take that mini Kong that's on it, the one on throne, and probably display it next to the bust if I wanted to. Probably just leave it, though, because I bet it's permanently attached. But I'm just thinking, if I can do that, then I can remove this coffee table and just have this completely free. No mid-shelf, nothing blocking anything, and then, of course, sacrificing Balrog and Fell Beast, I'd also just get rid of my Cave Troll. And then just do Lord of the Rings 1/4 and 2 busts. The Lurtz and the Nazgul. I'm not doing Sauron bust. Way too big. It overpowers the display. And you don't want a piece too big that it overpowers the display. Sauron 1/4 is already big enough for me, and I'm very happy with it. But I'll eventually move Reaper. Most likely what I'm thinking is moving Reaper right over here. Inside the glass shelf. My Drake hasn't even shipped, and it's been nearly a week, so I don't know if I'm getting Drake. I'm going to probably say I'm not getting it at this point and just do Reaper inside there. Because getting Drake does cause a lot of space problems. So probably, I could do Reaper over there, or I could do Reaper right here and move those two inside there. Because Reaper deserves to be more top shelf than those two. So I would say move Myers and Lord of Darkness, do Reaper over there. Or over there. I mean, it really doesn't matter. And then I can actually fit him in there and then do Ghostface, Leatherface there. And Annabelle, I mean, I could just sell her or do whatever with her. I mean, she's on a chair. I could technically fit Annabelle underneath the nun and then move Chucky. I could probably even fit Chucky. You know, he's a doll and he's a little bit wide at the feet and he's tall, but you know, being who he is, I think he's easier to display. So, you know, that's just trying to figure out space because eventually I do have to move Reaper to do Nazgul bust, Nazgul 1/4. I'm kind of leaning towards doing this though, just because I really don't want a mid-room shelf. I used to have mid-room shelves. If you guys remember, I had freaking 2 back-to-back Manja cases, 3 glass shelves. If you look at my room tour, the world's greatest statue collection, smacking my head, it was super cluttered. Like, I could barely move. I would do unboxings and I could barely unbox stuff. And it's so much nicer just to have a big open space. You look at the display and there's not something blocking something else and you have to be careful walking around, you know. So one part of myself wants to convince myself to keep the mid-room shelf, just do a garage shelf with the 2 Godzilla vs. Kong busts underneath and the Dio up top. But then again, the tail would stick out probably a solid 9 to 10 inches. So I'd have to watch out walking around that tail, which is also very annoying. So that is one option. So definitely have, you know, to consider things. I like the idea of getting about $5,000 from selling all these things because I could definitely use that towards all my pre-orders. That would be nice because I definitely have way too many pre-orders. So I don't think Kong vs. Skullcrawler and Kong Bust fits perfectly in there. It is very tight, and the fact that he's being blocked by that, I don't like that. You know, it'd almost be better just to do Kong Bust, or ideally switch that shelf with that shelf and do it like that. That would work even better. That is a lot of work, and I'd need help moving the TV if I was to do that. That's just too much work. So, yeah, definitely a lot to consider. I mean, I do think Godzilla Bust looks completely fine down low. Like, looking at him right now and I'm standing up, I think he looks completely fine. You can see everything perfectly fine. The diorama, I'm pretty confident that will look good down low. I don't think it's going to be something that has to be up high. You know, like Caesar Bust has to be up high. Otherwise, it doesn't look that good. And I just want to sell it because I can't display it good. I previously displayed it where Red Sonja's, but Red Sonja didn't have a good spot. And she's, for me, a more impressive piece that I'd rather have. You know, unless I wanted to do Red Sonja on the coffee table and then put Caesar Bust back up there. That is one option as well. You know, to do a 1/3 like Red Sonja and something else, another 1/3 there, for example. But that's still putting a statue in the middle room, which is something, again, I'm trying to avoid. It's just when you're low on space, you have few options. You either add more shelves, take middle ground, you sacrifice statues or lines. So, I mean, for me, ultimately, the most important thing on Lord of the Rings is those shelves. Of course, I love Balrog, but you know, the most important part will just be my one force with Bus. That is my Lord of the Rings wall and collection. Balrog is like just a side-off piece with Felbeast. And Felbeast is amazing. So it really does suck to sell those and sacrifice Balrog. I kind of want to get Balrog in hands to at least review it and sell it. So if anything, I might just sell my pre-order, you know, and then if I couldn't sell the pre-order, I'd just cancel it. But I would probably consider that just to get it on the review table, review it for you guys, and then sell it. The problem with anytime you do that is once you get a piece and you see how amazing it is, you're like, gosh, dang it, I want to keep it. So that's also a negative to reviewing pieces that you want but plan to sell. You're going to want to keep it. You know, so if anything, it's best I just forget about Balrog, sell Caesar, sell Felbeast, sell Cave Troll, and do Godzilla vs. Kong down here. I just have to switch that shelf with that shelf, not an issue. And I'm still not 100% happy with how Horror is going to end up, just because I feel like it's going to be a little cluttered. I kind of screwed myself over buying all the Pan's Labyrinth. I think it's fine just like that. That looks really good. But when you add in him in there, then it looks cluttered, so I don't like that. And I think right now it looks really good, but we are getting Ghostface and Leatherface, which could technically both go right there, But Reaper has to move eventually. It has to. There's no question about it. Eventually, I do have to move Reaper. So, yeah, that's something that will have to be moved, which sucks because I'd love to just keep it there. But I will come to those crossroads in the future when I get those statues. For now, I can enjoy as is. But I did want to get your guys' 2 cents. Do you think it's worth sacrificing Fell Beast, Balrog vs. Gandalf, Caesar Bust, and Caesar 1/4 to prevent a mid-room shelf? Think about it. No. I'm leaning towards yes, because it also does give me some additional funds to do other things that I'd like, to do. I really do hate not getting Balrog, though. That's the one that hurts the most, to be honest. Even over selling Caesar Bust and Fell Beast, Balrog hurts the most. But I can't do Balrog in that display. It just won't work, and it doesn't scale with 1/4, so it looks out of place as well. I like my scales to align, 1/4 and bust only. So I need to get rid of these random tiny creatures, 1/20th scales. They just don't scale good. Anyways, folks, let me know what you think in the comments below. I might do a for sale video of these statues. We will see. If it is, it'll probably be in the upcoming few days, because I'm trying to make a decision sooner than later. Anyways, that is it. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.